Hello and welcome to New Fast Food. We've got a lot of fast food news today, including Subway testing a complete revamp of their bread system. They've got new kinds of bread, fresher bread, a new way to bake the bread. We'll talk about it all. Plus, find out how to get some free McDonald's swag this week. And Chick-fil-A is testing a way to improve their already stellar customer service. If this is your first time here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Plus, you'll also want to hit that notification bell, so therefore you'll always be notified when I release new videos. And real quick, before we get started, I did want to mention the Cheesy Bites Pizza is now back at Pizza Hut. I had first reported that the Cheesy Bites Pizza would be back about a month ago. I reported it would be back, I said July 12th. It ended up coming back July 16th. So I'm going to chalk that up to being close enough. The Cheesy Bites Pizza is back at Pizza Hut as of now. With that, let's jump straight into it and discuss Subway's complete bread overhaul, or at least the test of a complete bread overhaul down in Southern California. Yes, this is happening down in Orange County, California. Subway is testing a revamp to basically their complete bread line, and it starts from the way they make the bread to how often they bake it and even the kinds of bread they offer. So the word is that they are testing these new bread machines to allow them to do multiple things that normally would have to be done in separate compartments. These new bread ovens basically can do all those steps in one spot. So there's no need to take the bread out, move it around. They can do it all just by pressing it, sort of like a set it and forget it type of bread baking machine for Subway. So with these new machines, Subway is able to bake the bread in much tighter intervals. So they're saying the new bread would be baked fresh every 4 hours, as opposed to currently in Subways, they bake the bread at least twice a day, which, you know, that could be, I don't know, 6-8 hours apart. So they're saying the new bread will be baked fresh every 4 hours, and this is also allowing them to test new types of bread. So a couple of the new types of bread that we've found out about so far are hoagie rolls and Dutch crunch rolls. If you haven't heard of Dutch crunch rolls, I just learned today that they're actually not very popular outside of California, which is where I live. So basically, Dutch crunch rolls, they're pretty soft, but they have sort of a crunchy top to them. They're not my favorite kind of bread, but they are pretty popular, I guess especially around here. So the hoagie, the Dutch crunch, we have a picture of something here. I'm not sure exactly which bread this is. It's not the Dutch crunch, I can tell you that much. So it may be the hoagie, I'm not sure. The bread is scored on the top there, or has those little cuts on the top of the bread. That's called scoring the bread. That makes the bread, you know, look a lot nicer than it would if they weren't there. And it's also reported that the new bread has a thicker crust to it. So you know, Subway bread, you know, at least to me, I've always thought that all the different breads there are pretty much the same. They, you know, they have a little bit of a different taste to them, but the texture of them and the way the fluffiness of them, they're all pretty much the same, which is fine. But it definitely makes it so you can tell as soon as you bite into a sandwich that that is a Subway sandwich. So I think it would actually be pretty nice if it had that thicker crust that you get with some of the more expensive, you know, sandwiches. In fact, overall, my opinion on it is that I am very excited to see some new bread options come out of Subway. You know, a lot of times when I eat a sandwich somewhere else, and I think to myself, man, this is a really good sandwich. I can't believe how good this sandwich is. And then this, you know, a lot of times the second thing I think to myself is, what makes this sandwich different than a Subway sandwich? Because, you know, sandwiches, there's not a whole lot different you can do with them. It's all, you know, the same ingredients that come inside the sandwich. I mean, the one thing that I always think to myself in those situations is the bread. I'm like, man, this bread really is an upgrade to the sandwich. If Subway was just able to improve their bread somehow, I think they'd really be able to compete with some of these more premium sandwich places. Because, like I said, in my mind, the inside of the sandwich is pretty much the same everywhere you go. There's not, you know, there's some differences, but there's not that much of a difference. The main difference is the bread. So I think if Subway is taking a long look and really focusing on improving their bread, I think that would go a long way to improving their image and increasing their sales, which we all know have been dropping in the recent years. So I'm excited for Subway. I hope this test works out for them, or at least they learn some lessons from this test and are able to come out with some new, more premium breads in the years to come. But if you live in Orange County, you can get a sneak peek at what may become Subway's new bread line. The new bread is available now in Orange County, California Subway restaurants. All right, next up today is a story that's really exciting for people that are fans of fast food like myself, like you all, and that's that McDonald's is going to be giving away free swag, free merchandise this coming Thursday. This is very cool. This is the second year they're doing this. Last year, it was pretty much just like generic throwback swag. This year, they're focusing on the 90s. It's going to be a 90s themed throwback swag, and it's available on what they're calling McDelivery Day, which is going to be this Thursday, July 19th. So if you want to get a hold of this free McDonald's merchandise, all you have to do is place a delivery order at McDonald's through the Uber Eats app this Thursday starting at lunchtime. So whichever time lunch starts at your McDonald's location, whether it's 10:30 or 11 local time, that's when you can start placing the orders. And when you place your order, you'll see the McDonald's swag available in the Uber Eats app. All you do is add it to your shopping cart, and then when you check out, it'll be free as long as your McDonald's delivery order is at least $5 or more. Now I should say this is not available at every single McDonald's nationwide, but it is available at a lot of them. I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to check to see if your McDonald's is going to be participating in this offer. But like I said, there's a lot of McDonald's on that list. Odds are one of them in your area is going to be participating. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going to be available. I didn't get a chance to participate in this last year, so I don't exactly know how it's going to work. If every McDonald's has all the merchandise and you're able to just choose, which one you want while supplies last, or if different stores get different merchandise. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I'm hoping that I get to choose what exactly it is that I get to order. So let's just go through what they have here. So they have t-shirts. Looks like the t-shirts are available in both white and black. I like the design there, and the word classic, it's classic. The second thing is these Big Mac pop sockets. So, these are the things that you can pop onto the back of your phone, and makes it easier to hold up your phone for selfies or watching movies or, whatever you do with your phone. Next up is these pins, and, I used to be a big collector of pins when I was younger, and I know that there are a lot of people that are die-hard pin collectors, so that's going to be a hot item for those people. There's this bandana, and then there's these two different kinds of socks. So there's Big Mac socks and French fry socks. And in terms of which of these items I am most excited for, and in the order in which I would add them to my cart, I would go for the t-shirts first. I think that the t-shirts, I think I would get the most use out of those. I'd be wearing those a lot. Secondly, I think I'd go for the fry box socks. I think that between the two socks, I like the French fry ones better, so I would go for those next. And then after those, if those weren't available, I'd go for the Big Mac socks. Those are pretty cool as well. So again, this Thursday, July 19th, you open up the Uber Eats app, you place a minimum $5 food order from McDonald's, and you get one of these items for free, along with, of course, the food order and delivery that you pay for. And in our last bit of news today, Chick-fil-A is looking to potentially improve their already stellar customer service. We talked about just a week or two ago how Chick-fil-A has again come up on top of the customer satisfaction survey. They're looking to do even better in the future. They're testing these little things called Kallpods, which are placed on all the tables within the restaurant, and you can use them to call someone over to your table, and then once that person is there, you can either order more food through them, ask them to get you things like sauces or straws or napkins, stuff like that, or you can even call a manager over if you have an issue or you just want to say something nice. So I think it's a great idea. The way it works is when you hit one of those buttons, the employees are wearing smartwatches, and their smartwatch vibrates, and they look at it, I guess, to see which table they got to go to. And so that's how the technology works. It's really similar. It reminds me of what Bubba Gump's does. They have on their tables those flip cards where it says "Run Forrest Run," and then you flip it over to say "Stop Forrest Stop" when you want your server to stop at your table. It really reminds me of that a lot. Chick-fil-A is testing them in some of their busiest restaurants out in Houston, Texas, and they're saying that they're really pleased with the results so far, especially the option to order more food from your table. So they say that you can already do that. You can already call someone over to your table and say, hey, I didn't want to order the ice cream cone when I was up there the first time. I'd like to get an ice cream cone now. Can you help me out and can get one that way. And you can already do stuff like that. This just makes it a lot easier. It puts it front and center, lets you know, just by looking at your table that that is going to be an option. And so what they're saying is that at these restaurants that they're testing them at, they've already increased those kind of orders, those order from the table type orders, from $50 a day to like about $300 a day. And you might say, that's not that big of a deal, going from $50 to $300 a day from these extra orders that are placed from the table. But the reason why that's such a big deal is that, so that's an increase of about $250 a day. But let me break down the math for you and show you why that is such a huge deal. If you figure an extra $250 per day at one location, even with Chick-fil-A being closed on Sundays, that's about an extra $78,000 per year from that one location. Okay, now Chick-fil-A has over 2,100 locations throughout America, so when you multiply that out times each location, that would add up to being an extra $160 million a year for Chick-fil-A. That's actually a little bit more than that. I'm rounding off for some even numbers. So more than an extra $160 million a year just by adding these little Kallpods onto the tables in their stores. That is a huge deal. If this test continues to be as successful as it is in these first restaurants, I think there's no reason why Chick-fil-A wouldn't roll this out nationwide. And the numbers that I did, those are based off of these test locations, but they did say that the test locations are some of their busiest locations in the country. So you probably can't expect every location to see an extra $250 a day by adding these Kallpods. So that $160 million number might be a little bit high, but even if they can get another $100 million a year just by adding these little buttons to their restaurants, that's a huge win. That's a huge deal. So Chick-fil-A is only testing these in 3 locations right now, but I would look to see that quickly expand if they continue to see the improvements that they're seeing in those restaurants. But that's enough out of me. Now it's up to you to continue the conversation down below. I want to know, which of these McDelivery Day items are you most excited about? Is it the shirts, the socks, the pins, maybe the bandana or that pop phone thing? Those are really popular. I just don't happen to have interest in them, but I know they are very popular. So I'm interested to find out what you, the fast food foodies and drive-thru cuties, are most interested in. Thank you very much for tuning in today. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. We talk about fun stuff like this twice a week. I release new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and you can watch more right now.